Alright, day traders, Jason G here from Responsible Day Trading, and this is your market weekly rundown. We're looking at the E-mini S&P 500 futures. Today is Monday the 11th of September. We're going to start by taking a look at the news, see what's coming our way. So if you don't know already, go to our website, responsibledaytrading.com, and we've got the weekly news feed, or however, whatever length of time you want to look at the forecast for. I've got it filtered down to this week with high volatility news. That's these three bulls you see here, relevant to the US dollar related news events. So nothing happening today on Monday or Tuesday. Really some big news on Wednesday, crude oil inventories, and then Thursday lots going on there with the initial jobless claims and retail sales. Should be quite volatile around, especially crude oil inventory, and on Thursday I expect quite a bit of volatility, so definitely watch out for these news events. And if you're not someone that trades the news, you want to be sitting on the sidelines 15 minutes before, at least really before these news events pop up, and then just wait till it calms down a bit before you take a position out, step back into the market again, usually another 15-20 minutes after the news has been out. So that's for people that don't trade the news, which is the majority of us, to be honest. So it's really good to know when these events are coming so you can be prepared for that. Okay, let's start by looking at our charts. So this is my free chart setup on NinjaTrader. We've got a new contract here for December 2023. I'm looking at the E-mini S&P futures. So as always, when we're doing some market analysis, we want to start with a top view, looking down approach. Start with the highest time frame, so that will be the daily. I'm going to open that one up full so you can see, just map out a little bit where we are on the daily. So if you don't know already, these are tick charts. Each one of these ticks, or each one of these bars, represent one day in the market. So we've got almost a year, well over a year actually, here on this chart. So I'm just going to scale it in a bit so you can see the significant areas that we've visited. So previously this area here was a resistance turned to support, and we revisited that about a month or so ago. If I zoom in a bit on the more recent time here, so let's say the last couple of weeks over here, we had made a trend to the upside. EMA's crossed over, quite a bit of strength to the upside, then we got this sort of deeper pullback, put in a bit of support, bounced off of this previous area here, almost hit the slow EMA here, and then tried to make an extension push to the upside. That was last week here, moving up, and now really just pulled back the early last week and put in some support, looking to see if we can continue to the upside, if we can keep on going to the upside. So in terms of bias and sentiment, obviously we've had this big move to the downside which has been going on since the beginning of 2022, and now we've been making this retracement push to the upside. Really want to see if this area will hold and if it will keep pushing to the upside. If we look at what the MACDs are telling us to help maybe give us some clues about whether this will hold or will continue. So we did have the strong move down, strong MACDs, little bit of divergence with this move up. You can see we're not quite up there, sort of a 50% pullback. So run, retracement, run, retracement. We're not quite up as high as the price is, so a little bit of weakness on this move up. Then we pulled down here last week. That had fairly significant retracement divergence there, sort of a 50% pullback there, as you can see, and just a maybe 20-30% pullback on the MACDs. And we're at the zero line, so we're going to see if this is going to hold or not. If this does hold, then we can expect price to keep pushing to the upside. This last bar you see here is just what's happened today on Monday. So far looking good to continue to the upside. That's our expectation, but obviously as intraday traders we can trade in both directions, taking small positions in either direction when we're looking for weakness or strength in one way or the other. But it's good to have to know your bearings and what's happening in the current daily time frame. Okay, let's jump to a lower time frame, 10/9/46. So I've mapped out a trend channel here. So there's some significant pivots that we put some support and resistance here. These are the outer extremity lines of the trend channel, and this is the 50% between the two here. So 50% line in the middle, and it's quite a significant one. There's been a lot of resistance areas. We've had some overruns, but that's normal there. But the key thing here is just picking out where you see the most pivots and signs of respect of these lines here, right? So you can see the more recent support turn to resistance, then we put in another support area here, and I was looking for this to make its move to the upside today. So this is really today here what we see, this price action here. So we've got fairly strong EMAs. We had the crossover here. I was looking to see if it could push to the upside, and it might do in the coming days. So that's something to look out for this week, to see if we can get up to this area here. That will be somewhere in the region of 45.52, maybe as far as 45.55. Depends how long it takes to get up there. If it's going to retest that area, it might not do. And that's because we do have some weakness on this move to the upside today. If you look at these two pivots here, it's almost a 100% move. But if you look at the retracement divergence across the MACDs are saying that this move that we've seen up today is not as strong as it appears to be on the price action. So it may well fail to the upside. It might not have enough really guts or a bit of steam to get all the way up there. But we'll be on the lookout for that. I mean, the EMAs rather do look quite strong. They're getting stronger as they spread apart. But if we keep in mind that since the 1st of September, so the last 2 weeks, we've had this move to the downside, and this really just looks like a shallow retracement compared to that move to the downside. So if that area, if it does make it up there and that holds, we can expect maybe a move to the downside or continuation. If not, if we get to this area here, we might break through it, something like that, keep pushing, maybe pull back, and we could get a sort of turn in the market, a change in sentiment, push up, maybe to revisit these areas. But I suspect that we're probably going to move up here. This probably will hold, might overrun a little bit, and then I'll be looking for, if it does, continuation to the downside, and that will just be, as I mentioned, this is the run down. This is a fairly shallow retracement compared to that move to the downside. So that's what you want to check out, what's happening in this area here. That is around target area of around 45, 52, 53, something like that. Keep an eye on that area, it's quite significant. And alongside that area, we're always looking convergence of information, right? So we've got that 50%, that area, but that also lines up pretty nicely if we get to that price with a previous support area here. We've had significant price action going on, holding. So I do quite fancy this area as an area to move towards. Let me just clean away some of these, especially as you've got convergence there of, you've got your 50% and your support area there. So let's see if it can make it. Let's move on to what's been happening today. Okay, so looking at the 1597, this is our main trading chart. So for today, market opened on this yellow line here. Wasn't really a great market environment, to be honest with you. I did not bother trading the morning session. It was really choppy. This is the move down here. We got a lot of chop. Then we turned around and made a bit of a move to the upside. We got the EMA crossover. Again, even in the afternoon session, it wasn't great. I did get into a short, trying to fade this back a couple times. Managed to make it work, but it was really hard going. So really didn't enjoy trading this area at all. Could have just sat on my hands the whole day, the whole afternoon, or just done something different instead of trading this. But so it goes sometimes. You just got to go with it. So that's not really much more to talk about in terms of what happened today. The reason I was interested in fading this to the downside was because of this big retracement divergence we got on the 10.946. You can see these two pivots here, you know, they're almost equal highs, about 90% of a move up compared to that, so 90% retracement. But if you look at the MACDs over here, it's about 50%, so significant retracement divergence. That's showing signs of weakness, so this move, it looks strong, but MACDs are saying not so strong, so that's why I was looking at getting into a short fade opportunity down to this area. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half of just waiting in this area to finally get into that move there. Managed to close it out with some profits. So just a quick recap about expectations for the rest of the week. Keep in mind you've got the news on Wednesday and Thursday. Keep in mind where we are, that I mentioned that, you know, we could be quite well heading to 45.55 up in this area here. That's an area I'm looking out for, but you know, we've got sort of contradicting information on the MACDs at this point in time anyway. That can turn around. This could break and continue to the upside. But if it continues to show weakness or signs of failure or exhaustion to the upside, then obviously we'll be looking at maybe a deeper move to the downside in this direction here. So keep an eye out on that, and that's about it really. I expect tomorrow will also be another similar day to today, with slow, grindy. It looks like the market's waiting for these big news events to come on Wednesday, Thursday. So, you know, don't expect too much tomorrow really. Right, that's it from me. This is your market weekly rundown with responsible day trading. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, or you can reach out to us across all social media. Take care, guys.